This is part 2 of the build log for Maytalk. This is a staff-based rival blaster. And we're looking at the top shroud that contains the flywheel housing and also contains the fire control mechanism on here. So the first iteration, this is actually kind of the final setup. The first iteration that I did, I used a 2 flywheel setup, adapted on here, and then a gear drive sitting in here like this. And this was functional. This was not bad. I think my spacing was 43.5 on this cage, 43.5 millimeters on this cage. Worked through, and I was using Fang revamped motors in all cases to do the flywheels and the motor control. And if you can look down the barrel, you can kind of see here that catches, so the rival rounds catch here, and then this limits the rate of fire. If you don't do that, it throws them through like at 60 rounds per second, and it's ridiculous, but it overwhelms the motors, and they ended up stalling. So I'd get like 20 shots off and the motors would stall because they were feeding too fast. So this is going to slow it down to about 10, 12 rounds per second, depending on what motor I put here in the housing and the gearbox. So that was my first iteration at that, but I wanted something a little more advanced just from a power standpoint. So end up going with a 3 flywheel, 3 motor stage, and we'll get this apart. And I will show you what I'm talking about here. So we'll take this top shroud off. And I'm sitting here talking a lot about the mechanics and the electrical part of this. The shroud turned out amazing. I was really happy with the way the whole shroud turns out and models and comes around. I'm excited to see this whole thing come together. Alright, so let's get this 4th screw out. The top and bottom shrouds are connected by 4 screws and hold together. So if we take this out, then you can kind of see what the motor mechanism. You can see the same gear drive, and it's effectively the same mechanism that I was looking at before. I think the wheel may be slightly larger, and the angle, it's offset more. But what's interesting here is this is actually a 3 flywheel setup, and I've got the motors, of course, offset at 120. The crush is equivalent to, again, about a 43.5 on a 2 motor, 2 flywheel setup. But it, get this up here a little bit closer, you can kind of get a good look at what's going on here. But it gives you almost full envelopment of the round when it's coming through. So I was testing this, and when I do the final video of this, I'll show the performance on it. But I was getting around 130 feet per second on rival rounds going through this with this 3K setup. It's got a great crush, and the 3 motors that powers it through, it's actually working. It's ended up working excellent for this. You can't see it real well without getting things too far taken apart, but right down here, I've got a 90-to-1 ratio metal gear motor that's running this drive. So anyways, this is part 2 of the build log for Maytalk. I'm sorry, it's not Maddox, it is Maytalk. I'm getting excited about this. I've been doing some more modeling on the control mechanisms on the back, loading mechanisms, and you know, the fan mechanism on the back, to try to get that model done. But you know, I'm getting real excited about this. And again, this is Maytalk build log part 2. Thanks for watching.